All right, we should be live.
We are live. What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to Tour Life. Today is Tuesday, January 14th. We are happy you could join us for today's show. Big show today. Big announcements all across the disc golf world, and we are going to have two of the people involved in those big announcements, Ken Climo and Cale Leviska, joining the show later to talk about all the news that are going around. We've also heard finally Isaac Robinson, Latitude 64, and some Ricky Wysocki rumors spreading around. I'm going to see if I can maybe, tug and poke a little bit at Yuli, see if he'll crack a little bit for this today and see if we get any info out of him. But a lot of crazy stuff happening with the Climo announcement. Yuli, how's it going, brother?
Hey, man, it's going good. Sweet interview earlier with Kenny that they're going to be able to see at the end for sure.
Yep.
And yeah, loving life. Things are good. Like you said, a lot of information get out there this week. Some people going here, people going there, people not knowing where people are going.
Mm-hmm.
So not a slow week as far as disc golf goes.
No, we got some answers, and we still have a lot of speculation out there on some people. Also saw you posted a little YouTube video. You were able to get out and throw the disc.
Yeah, I just actually got it posted a few minutes ago.
I saw that.
I got out there and threw some of his discs. I mean,
initial thoughts without giving too. Make sure you go and watch Yuli's video. Make sure and watch.
No, it's okay. Yeah. I was very surprised with the putter, for example. I thought that I'm not a big putter thrower.
I was gonna say, is it a throwing putter, you think?
It can be for sure. It's a awesome. This had a lot of glide. Reminded me of like a Kratos Luna kind of mix.
Oh, interesting.
And it got me thinking that I might have to put her in the bag for my outside the circle putting because it's got a ton of glide. Like a ton of glide. The mid-range was awesome. Almost exactly what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like kind of a mix between a Buzz and a Malta. It's like has kind of a stability in the shape of a Malta as far as when you put it in your hand, but it's got a lot of glide. One thing I've noticed with the Buzz for myself is you throw it straight and it's really good at bending right and staying bent forever. But it's got a more of a heavy finish once it runs out of speed. And this has a lot of glide. So has kind of that straight, carries well right, but with the stability that this one has, it pushes the whole time and it doesn't just kind of die off. So really good mid-range. And the driver was a little harder because the course I played was a little shorter. I got to throw it as hard as I could a few times and it went pretty far, I think. Because it's Ken Climo, makes sense that it's more of a hyzer flip disc.
Is it? Okay.
Yep. And so it's one that you can get up and it'll ride straight. But if you hork it over, it tends to carry a long ways to the right, which is also good. I mean, there's big use for that. And my comparison with that would be kind of a Zeus, maybe a little more understable than the Zeus, with a little more carry at the end. So.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense too. I mean, him being a hyzer flip player himself, and also, when you're coming out with your initial disc, you want to probably come out with something that is going to suit the majority of disc golfers.
For sure.
And, I think that's probably what they went with there. Now, Ken Climo is going to be, we did an interview with him earlier today. So he will be on towards the end of the podcast. I think it's Silas, what is it, like a 30-minute interview with him?
Yeah, 30 minutes.
About 30 minutes or so. So stick around for that. We talk all about his partnership with Discraft. What does that look like? Can Discraft sponsor players throw his disc? How many discs are going to be? New plastics? We answer pretty much all the questions, or he answers pretty much all the questions that we had out there. Was there anything that you wanted to kind of add to that before we actually show the interview?
No, I think they're going to have a lot of stuff, great information in the interview. I think one of the things that I really wanted to kind of push is that Kenny's, I think people get confused with, for example, Discraft has DGA, right? And so that's a sub company where Discraft makes their disc, but it's separate. And Ken Climo's is more of a brand. I mean, it's freaking Ken Climo. So he's using his name and, of course, his reputation, also his knowledge of the game and him being able to help Discraft mold new discs. Like, this is the 12-time champ molding the disc. They have some new techniques that they're going, and he kind of goes into that as well in the interview. I don't want to get spoiled too much, but I think that's the biggest question that I see on the internet, and I see people asking is like, what's the difference? And the difference is you have the greatest player of all time putting in his hand in everything that's being done with this, and it's branding around him. And I think that that's probably the main point that I'd want to get across to the masses.
We'll talk a little bit about that here in a second, but before we do, got to jump into our sponsor of today's podcast, Prize Picks.
It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. For this week's picks, I'm taking Josh Allen more than 238.5 passing yards. I'm going to take Saquon Barkley more than 98.5 rushing yards. And I'm also going to take CJ Stroud. I'm going to take more on 0.5 passing touchdowns. Prize Picks makes it super easy to make your picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code TOURLIFE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code TOURLIFE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
So I was about to throw hands if you didn't have my boy CJ Stroud. I was about to throw hands. if you weren't backing my boy CJ Stroud. But yeah, shout out to Prize Picks, football playoffs in the mix, Steelers.
Exactly.
I mean, are we surprised?
No, you're gonna get crushed. And that's what happened. And that's what happens when you play what I think is going to be the Super Bowl champions in the Ravens. I think they're going all the way. And I mean, Lamar Jackson's the real deal. And I think he's probably not going to win the MVP. It might go to Josh Allen, but I think it's a disservice if he got the last 2 MVPs and then his statistics are better this year than they were the last 2 years. What are we doing here?
Here's the thing. We're living in an incredible era of professional football right now because the player, I mean, no one's even mentioned Patrick Mahomes like the last couple weeks. No. And Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback we have seen since Tom Brady. And no one's even talking about him because of the stuff that Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are doing. So this is an incredible time to be a sports fan. You've got the playoffs coming up. Golf has just started. March Madness is around the corner. We're about to see the national championship, which is going to be the Ohio State Buckeyes. Let's be real. Go Buckeyes. But great time to be a sports fan for all of us. And shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Now, I do want to jump a little bit more into Climo. Talk a little bit more about that because the first thing, I got to tip my hat because one thing that I think is really lacking right now in the disc golf world, right? Me and you come on here, we talk. Some people love it. Some people listen to us when they drive to work. Some people listen to us while they're working. It's great for, just kind of background noise. And then obviously right now we have over 400 people live in the chat. Last show, I think we had over 1,000 at a certain point. So love all our live viewers. But this is one form of media in disc golf. There are many other forms of media that I don't think are being tapped into at all. And what we saw with the partnership between Ken Climo and Discraft, we got to see something that we don't get to see often. And that was that beautiful 10-minute piece, a little mini documentary, if you will, of stuff that I've never even seen before, Yuli. I was seeing footage that I've never seen before. And being able to have Ken there, talk about the stories, talk about just like his competitiveness and how it was back then. I mean, I think that's something that I would love to see more of. I would love to see more pieces of that. Stop showing me guys just walking in slow motion and throwing discs in the middle of the field. Stop showing me that stuff. Let's start telling stories giving the people stories, and that's what we finally got. And King Climo is a story that we should be telling for sure.
No, absolutely, and I think it's a disservice that we haven't had a lot of that for Kenny over the past few years. But the fact that his name has stayed relevant for so long and people still know who he is without any of that. Like, you have to do a deep dive to go look at like the world championships in 1996 and in 2006. Like, you got to really go deep diving to find all that stuff that's documented. And then the legend just stays growing. Like, you have other legends of like Bill Russell, and you can do a deep dive and things like that. But it's more well documented. This Kenny's not, and the like you said, the storytelling, you don't see somebody being like, oh, there's a brilliant story here. Let's pull that out and show the people what this guy really was like. And so you just have to guess. And that's why I always say he's like a mystical character, because nobody knows, what was he like? You hear stories of, for example, like hanging out with some older guys, and they would be like, oh, I played against Kenny. Guy was ruthless. And it's like, okay, yeah, but what's ruthless? You know what I mean? Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah. Give us stories. We
exactly.
want to
give me an example of this guy. Bring him to life. And that's what Discraft has helped doing. And I hope they keep doing that with a lot of other players. And I think, like you said, there's a missing piece in our media world not having those things.
Yeah, we need to hear in the sports world what really captivates the masses. And really, like, at the end of the day, there are certain fanatics like us that are going to tune in and watch no matter what. But in order to get people that are the casuals, or even the people that, I know football is a sport, but why am I going to tune in? What's the reason for me to tune in? That's where you got to try to figure out a way to get people locked in and tune in. I think right now, disc golf, especially, Disc Golf Pro Tour, I think might be the number one of where they need to figure out a way to tell stories for the events. Because right now they do what? They show highlight packages and they do press conferences, and that's it. I think the disc golf world, who like actually chops up the press conferences and highlights and talks about them a little bit, I think that's actually way better promotion than the just putting out the press conferences the way they do it, right? So like, we need stories, Julie. That's how you get people to tune in. Is give me a reason.
Right. No, absolutely. And a good place to pull those things off. You can go on like Instagram now or TikTok or something. And I use basketball a lot because it's well documented, and the players are like they're not shy about sharing like old stories of like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. And a clip will pull up about, hey man, I showed up to the gym and he was still there. He stayed there afterwards. And he just did that because I showed up early. He was never there before. Like, little stories like that build the character up. And that stuff's, I'm not going to say easy to do, but it probably wouldn't take that long to have more, I guess, presence of people like King Climo. Maybe bring some other people up from back in the day, have them tell stories about them.
Yeah. I just think with the pro tour, the marketing and stuff, because it's going to be very difficult for you to like have the normal journalists, have the normal media that you have in other sports, because you're not going to be able to make any money off of it. You know what I'm saying? You can't make money off of it.
Yeah, you're losing it.
So why the heck are you going to have people do it? So that's where you really need the manufacturers that are making money off of it, and the Disc Golf Pro Tour that are making money off it. Those are the people that need to tell the stories. And it's one thing for a player to go out and post on social media and talk about themselves and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's another thing when it's coming from someone else. And that's what we really need, right? So we'll see what happens. I think that was a great piece.
There's a great interview on, I believe, the Disc Golf Network with Brian Earhart interviewing King Climo. I think it was at the USDGC maybe 2 years ago, or maybe it was last year, and it's a really good listen.
Yeah. So there you have it. I think hopefully we're moving in that direction, And we'll see what happens. Again, I think a lot of times you just need people to throw stuff out there. And all of a sudden when like you start seeing, oh, wow, the stuff is we're getting positive reaction to this, then everyone's going to start copying it, which is fine. Yeah. So I'm trying to think anything else with Climo before we move on. I'm trying to think what else from this interview. I think he did a good job of kind of explaining a little bit for those that are wondering like what the connection is with Discraft and all that. It also seems like he did talk about like they're starting with a couple discs right now, but they want to build a full lineup and have it kind of be complete. And I think I'm very interested. Now, I think I was probably in the majority where most people were thinking that he was going to sign on as, kind of like a Nate Doss or a Cale Leviska that we're actually going to have on here in a little bit. More on that icon team, right? And put his name on the buzz, put his name on a nuke, put his name on some putter, right? And have him be more involved that way. My big thing with this is I think I'm completely fine with it. I think this is a fine move for both Discraft and for the champ. But my big thing is I still would love to see him involved. My only concern with this is if he is going strictly just on I'm going to try to sell Frisbees. I think the majority of people in disc golf, from the public perception I got on social media, I think a lot of people are going to support this. I think some people are really excited to try out these new discs. And I think you have some people that it's like, bro, this guy did so much for disc golf, didn't really get anything. Innova kind of just shoot him out the door. I'm going to support this guy, right? So you have a bunch of people supporting him. But I think we want to keep him. I think I want to see him involved. I want to see him.
What do you mean by involved? Elaborate just a little bit.
Like commentary. I think he's one of the best commentary people on the mic at certain tournaments. I would love to see him more in content. I want to see him talking about the sport. If he just what I'm saying is my only concern is if he just turns into a salesman where he's just going around selling Climo disc golf, I think a lot of us are going to be like, man, I wish we got more. And I think if he does the other way of where if he comes back into the light and he is a big voice of disc golf, I think he'll actually sell more discs that way versus just going out and trying to sell discs. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. I think a big thing for him could be YouTube. I mean, a lot of people are doing that, but imagine if this guy decided, hey, I'm going to film, I'm going to have people come to my home course and I'm just going to walk and talk with these guys and you can see me. Are you kidding me?
He would be massive.
I would watch that I would watch King Climo every single week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way that, you can, like you said, to be more involved. That's what I would like to see just because of my selfishness of being like, I want to watch this guy play. I want to watch him play and I want to watch him compete. If it's just 9 holes that he's filming, imagine a round with him and Paul Macbeth just walking around and trying to be friendly, but they're going to go at each other. Mm-hmm. Like that's good TV right there. And I hope there's going to be something like that. I saw that he unveiled his YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. So there is a YouTube channel. So the opportunity, if you haven't gone, go over there. I think it's just the Ken Climo YouTube channel and subscribe to that because maybe we can all push him in that direction if we get enough subscribers over there.
Didn't you do something with Joe Mez a while where you would play one hole or something? What was that? Did you do something like that where you would play one hole or why am I remembering that? I'm remembering something. You had like a segment on Joe Mez. Am I crazy?
I just had a hole breakdown, the Bushnell hole breakdown.
But you didn't play it. You just talked about it?
I talked about it, yeah.
Okay. Imagine if we actually got that content of where this is him commentating, right? He's doing more commentary, he's doing more talking. What if we got that on almost at every major of where he picked a hole that he was like, this is a pivotal hole.
Climo breakdown. Yeah, of course.
And he played it. He showed us different spots. This is not where you want to be. I think he's not only a great player of the actual talent he has, physical, but like the up in here, and he talks about that all the time. Like you don't talk about something unless you were actually good at it, right? If you suck at something, Yuli, you try to never bring it up, never talk about it. He talks about the mental so much that he must have been a monster on the course. And like, I would love to hear that. I would love to hear more of that from him. And so that's my only thing is like, I hope this brand, I hope his disc, I hope all this does really, really successful. I just hope he steered in the direction of like, you can give so much to disc golf in this way. And I think he wants to do it that way too. I don't think it's going to be pulling his teeth. And if you do this, all the disc sales will come with it as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you got to do it naturally. Like you said, you can't just expect to sell a lot of discs because people kind of see right through that. Like you got to go and you got to put in the work. And I mean, the interview is going to talk a lot about all that stuff, but he's not somebody that I've known, and you don't get greats like that who are just like, meh.
Yeah.
Like he's going to go all in, and he's going to give his best effort. And I believe he's going to be successful.
And I don't think, I think, say what you want about Innova. I think their structure is a lot different. And I think next week we're actually going to maybe have someone come on to talk about some stuff, which I think is going to be a great, great interview. I think they've decided to structure their business a different way. I don't think that's a right way. I don't think it's a wrong way. I think it's just their way. And I think the way that Discraft is structuring it, I think it works better for what Climo needs. Yeah. Right? He needs someone to kind of help him put stuff together and give him the resources to do this stuff. And that's why maybe we didn't see that when he was with Innova, because he just didn't have those resources. Now that he does, I'm very interested and curious to see what goes on what moves forward from here.
Absolutely.
So we'll see. If you don't stick around to watch the interview, which I have no idea why any of you guys would leave before the interview, tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern on ClimoDiscGolf.com. That's when his 3 discs drop. So definitely go check those out if you haven't already. All right. Let's talk a little Isaac Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Finally got the news about Isaac Robinson. I thought it was hilarious. He posted the photo of him in the airport where he was like, "Where am I going?" And it turns out he was using his disc with Latitude 64 in the little disc golf game when he unblurred it. So I thought that was actually kind of funny. But Isaac Robinson signs up $175,000 per year. I think that's guaranteed too. Deal with Latitude 64. Initial thoughts, Yuli?
I'm not surprised. Initial thoughts, I guess. A 3-year deal, 170. That's I would say pretty spot on. With the incentives, I believe I read that was like he could make around $300,000 a year. So that's a 3-year contract. That's about $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, in today's market, you kind of grab that and you run. So good for him getting the bag. Pretty much like I'm excited to see what he does with it. I think it's a big change from Prodigy. I really do. I think it's a big change. They have a lot of other discs, and we've seen a lot of players be super successful with Latitude. You know, Ricky won a couple world titles with them, I believe, in the early days. So,
I mean, the #1 player in the world for FPO.
Yeah, exactly. So
works pretty good for her.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I would, just like anything, I want to see what kind of branding they do with him and what kind of stuff he can do for the product to get those sales up. Because at the end of the day, that's what all the manufacturers want. And so far, they've done a really good job.
I like this move a lot. A couple of reasons. One, for some reason, if you just like blind had to, pick someone up and drop them somewhere, like for some reason, I think him going to Latitude 64 makes a lot of sense. I don't know why I feel that way, but it doesn't stick out to me like that doesn't make any sense. Like I when I look at him, I'm like, yeah, Latitude 64, like that works. Other good thing about him, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, you did mention Ricky, but that was who knows how many years ago that was.
Yeah.
They don't really have an MPO player that like jumps at you as this is latitude 64.
No,
right?
And that's why I said I was excited to see what they do with the branding of him, because you're sitting on the 2-time world champion. Like, that's a big marketing scheme that you can use to your advantage. And I want to see, as a player on tour and as a veteran, that's what I want to see with all these young players. Is I want to see them not only get the money they deserve, but I want to see them help grow the sport. And good marketing is the name of that game. If you have good marketing, you're going to grow everything. You're going to get more fans. They're going to buy more product. We'll be able to, all the resources grow. And so I hope that happens for him, because he's a very popular player, but I think he could be way more popular. And I hope they help him with that. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, I mean, tons of people are playing disc golf, but also tons of people are not watching disc golf. So it's, trying to figure out other ways to tap in, to get people to tune in and to watch disc golf. And I think he potentially has the ability of grabbing a market of people to tune in. So I think this is a great move. I think, again, like I said, there's not really that, oh, wow, like he's joining up with this person. How is he going to deal with the spotlight? Like,
yeah, he's the man.
If he would have signed with Discraft, would have been kind of tough. If he would have signed with even MVP, with Simon and Eagle and James already there, definitely would have been tough. Like, there's not really anyone in the way. It's him and Krista Tatar. They got the 2 world champs. Well, Evelina last year, but you know what I mean.
Two world champions, though.
Yes. So it will be interesting to see kind of how they move forward with that. They do a great job with Kristen marketing her.
Yeah.
And so I think Isaac is another one of those players that, talking a little bit with Shoestrick last week, I brought up to him, I was like, listen, there's a lot of people that are good at disc golf and they suck about social media.
Yeah.
They're not good in interviews. They don't got the biggest personality. There's a lot of things that probably not the best idea for them to just go out and try to make content themselves. And so that's where I was like, I think that's where the onus is on the manufacturer, the sponsor.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To build them up, And so I think Latitude has done a pretty phenomenal job with Kristen in that. So we'll see what happens.
But the Kristen thing, she takes care of herself in that regard. When
she
you win that many, and she's polarizing.
She does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Isaac at the Worlds, polarizing. Isaac during the season, there's something different there. You know what I mean? And I think that's a perception that I see just from watching content and everything. And if they can change that to make him that polarizing figure, just like Kristen, I think that they've struck gold. So I hope they do that.
Yeah,
I only wish the best for Isaac.
Obviously. Yeah, I think this is a good thing. We'll probably have Isaac on in the next week or so as well, to kind of discuss where his thoughts and stuff are on that. But before we leave him waiting anymore, Cale, just from the top rope, says, let me just drop a bomb on the disc golf world, because I'm signing with Discraft, baby. Cale Leiviska joins the show once again. Cale, how's it going, brother?
Hey, boys. I'm doing great. It's great to be here with you guys. Thanks for the invite.
Did you just see, like, everyone on social media being like, where's Big Germ going? Oh, my gosh, what about Isaac? And you're like, you know what? I want a little piece of that. Give me a little piece.
Oh, my gosh. I got a little piece. It's been a wild offseason, boys. It feels really good to be able to get this, what used to be a secret out there and not have to hide it anymore. I feel great about it.
I will say, am I surprised that somehow Cale Leiviska's contract did not get leaked, Yuli? The answer is no. Because you know why? He probably didn't tell a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I told Yuli.
Well, Yuli's someone that I would feel like he wouldn't leak it, because he's on a podcast every week and he doesn't really leak anything. But there's definitely people out there that you're like, bro, stop telling people, because those people are going to tell people, and the next thing you know, everyone's going to know. So
they can't help it.
Yeah, no, they want to tell the good news. But yeah, this was one of the these are one of the announcements that I don't know. A lot of people saw it coming, but I know a lot of people were excited about it. So tell me at first, kind of like when this started talking, like when did this all happen? How did this come about?
I mean, gosh, the history with Discraft and I goes back to when I started playing disc golf. I was sponsored by Discraft from like 2006 to 2012. So I got a long relationship with those guys. But I guess we'd have to rewind to about the end of 2020. My contract had kind of been up with Prodigy at that time. Obviously, it was a big year for disc golf, a big year for me personally. We had just built the preserve and stuff, and Bob had kind of reached out at that point to kind of see if there's any interest for me to come back. And we got pretty deep into the conversation where I was feeling really good about it, and I told Prodigy at that point, like, hey, I think I'm considering making this move, and they kind of came over the top with an offer at that point that I couldn't really refuse. So, and I guess it goes back even further than that, though, because every time I'd see Bob and Mike, they'd pretty much tell me, just let me know when you're coming back. I know it's going to happen eventually, kind of hinting at it. But, yeah, fast forward to now this past offseason. I kind of had just signed a new contract with Prodigy, but I put in there like an opt-out clause after every year. There's some stuff that was kind of happening there that, left some questions about the direction that a couple things were going. And I had a great conversation with Bob and Mike and Jim Kenner, the old owner, and Shane towards the end of the year. And, it just felt like it was time to make the move. Obviously you guys both know. I mean, you guys could both be sponsored by anyone that you want within the industry, and there's just Discraft's a special company. They're doing pretty much everything right, in my opinion, and they truly care about building up the game as well as building up their company, building up the players that they have on their team, and the culture that is there. It was too good to not do it, and feel like this is where I'm going to be for the rest of my career.
Wow. So did you bring to the table similarly to you 2020 to Prodigy, saying, hey, I got another offer with Discraft, I'm thinking about going? Or did you not even question that this time around, and you said, no, deuces, I'm out?
Yeah, not this time. This time I had the great conversation with Bob, and I kind of gave him my word that this, if we do these things that we're talking about, these things that are going to help me and build up the business and help me build the game up as well. I gave him my word that I was ready to make the switch. And so when we had our final conversation, I went to Prodigy, just kind of letting him know that I wasn't going to be rejoining with them, and didn't even leave it open-ended at all for any negotiation.
Yeah, Discraft is starring. I don't know if you guys ever watched the movie Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys. Did you guys ever watch that movie?
I think I remember it back in the day.
If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. But it seems like Discraft's a little bit like that, of where there's these players that for whatever reason just aren't really happy with where they are, or they feel like they could be giving more to the sport. And Discraft's just like, pluck, 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 and is plucking them. And it's like, when I first got into disc golf and I looked at like how a lot of stuff was run, I've talked about this before. Some of the contract offers I was receiving in 2020 from some companies, I mean, my agent like would literally call me and be like, is this like real? And I'm like, yeah, I think they're actually a legit company. Like, I don't know. I think they're real. And I think what's happening is like this stuff just isn't working anymore. Like the way a lot of these companies operate, we're seeing it with people downsizing, people firing people. Like we're seeing it all across the board, and it's just something that needed to happen, to where disc golf, there's a lot of money in disc golf, and so a lot of things need to be taken professionally and done professionally. And this like handshake stuff and some of this stuff of like, oh yeah, don't worry about it, we'll take care of you a couple months from now. Like that stuff just doesn't fly anymore. And I think certain players are getting tired of it. And especially when you have someone at the table that's like, we're doing it the right way, it puts a lot of pressure on these other companies. Do you kind of feel that, of where Like, why would I go somewhere else if I know I'm not going to be treated the right way?
Well, I can't really speak on it too much on what a bunch of other companies are doing because I only have the experience
Sure.
with Prodigy and things. To be fair to them, they always treated me very well, and I was with them for 12 years. But you can just tell the different. Discraft is just a different animal. I mean, the way that they're doing things, it just seems like it's a place like you saw so many companies had people lose players this year, and Discraft kept their entire team, which was already huge and already a fantastic team, and then they're adding more pieces on top of it, like you just said, some more misfit toys, and yeah, there's a reason they're taking risks, and these risks are paying off, and they invest in their players, and just being with Discraft and seeing how they work on the branding with the team and stuff, that was all very eye-opening to me. Something that I kind of I've been building up my own airborne brand for years, but never really put as much thought into it as I needed to, and seeing the way Discraft is doing things is very impressive.
I think I think what happens here is it starts at the top, and when you have Jim, you have Mike, and you have Bob, it's a three-headed monster. I mean, you have a really old school mentality from Jim, and then you have Mike, who came up and he helped build the company and kept it afloat during times where we can remember, like Nate Doss was the only player on the team. Like disc golf was not their top priority. It was all about ultimate and then making the Ultra Star. And they got through that. And then as soon as disc golf boomed, here's the thing. When you have great leaders, they see the writing on the wall and they have innovative ideas. They pick Macbeth up and they sign him to a crazy contract, right? And they really change the sport. And what I've noticed with them is not only did they do that, each year they do something big. Each year they try to push it forward and they don't stop. I feel like a lot of companies play it safe, and they play it safe in the wrong way. And a lot of people kind of get busted if they go too high off of their potential. This is a company that's been around for a long time. They have a nice little egg on the side as well, which is ultimate, to where their company is going to be successful no matter what, which allows them to take risks. But I believe they're educated risks because of the people that they have in there. Old school idea, like I said. And then Bob, if you ever get a chance to talk to Bob, he's at a lot of tournaments. You go talk to him about anything. He's actually brilliant with this stuff. Like the way that he can see potential in branding new players and doing things like this is something that I have a lot of respect for, because I don't see it with other companies. And if other companies really aren't doing it like that, that's why other players look at Discraft and they see that we're all happy. Like you don't see even in their, let's say their company, like you walk in there, there's offices all around the building. And it's the same guys in the offices, right? You go in there and there's Pat in the one office, and then there's Eric in the one office, and they've been there for years and years and years, which means not only do they look like they're a good company, but you go in there and then their employees who make the discs and who make the decisions, the accountants, all of that, they're all actually ecstatic to be there. And
yeah, it was wild for me to actually like be there last week and see Pat and Eric, like guys that I knew with my first stint with Discraft 13 years ago. That is pretty astounding.
You know what I mean? You don't see that in companies. You really don't. And I've been in other manufacturers' companies, and you go in there and it's like, oh, this is definitely a warehouse, And there, it's just different. I think the company's different all around, and not to just brag about it too much, but I thought I'd get that out there.
Yeah, it is interesting, and like you said, stuff needs to change for taking risks and seeing what works, for then other companies to look at Discraft or look at Innova or look at other companies that are doing really well. I mean, MVP I think did a great move with Conrad, and then Simon and Eagle. I think they've done a great job. I mean, Discmania just got Gannon, and they're starting to build a little team. So I think it's starting to come together, because at the end of the day, like you really don't want just like one company to kind of take over. I don't think that's going to be good for disc golf in the long run. What I would like to see is just like across the board, like certain things just being taken care of. right? And I'm sure, Cale, you have your stories about players like agreeing to stuff and then just being like, I'm not doing it. And then you're like, so, okay, do we, I mean, we've talked about it, the whole Gannon thing, like Prodigy was not in the wrong for going after Gannon. No. And I've told that to Gannon, like Gannon messed up what he did, but what is the perception of Prodigy after that happened? No, like very few people like took Prodigy's side.
No.
You know? And so it's like contracts need to be written a certain way, standards need to be happening. But again, like I think certain things happen like that because of the culture that is built around the company. And when you lose respect, like that you see more stuff like that happen.
Oh, absolutely. And being the captain of the team, Missy and I can tell you firsthand that we hold our players accountable. And that's the one. Our system is based off of how well do you play, and that's it. There's no favoritism. There's nothing going on like that. It's how well do you play? Did you meet the criteria to do this? And if you didn't, you're not going to be on the elite team. There might be other things that we can do to help you. You know what I mean? Selling some extra discs on the side, giving you more opportunities. We're never going to take opportunities away to our players, but you're going to have to build that up in another way and work really hard in order to do it. And I think that's one thing that really drives players in general is the fact that, oh, I have to work for this. Okay. It's not going to be just given to me year in and year out. That helps an athlete. It really does, because then you have to work. And when you work, you get better.
So let's talk about working, because one thing that you said in the announcement video is that you want to get back into competitive play a little bit more. So what sparked that? Where did that come from?
I mean, it has never left, Brody. Honestly, I know. Since I've met you about 5 years ago, I was kind of playing 3-4 Pro Tour events a year, but
And I was shocked. I was like, this guy's incredible. Why is he only playing a couple events?
It's just because, you got to understand when Yuli and I started playing and touring together, the money just wasn't there. We did it for the love. And I reached a certain point in my life where I was, I'm 41 years old now. So when I hit about 30, I was like, I gotta set myself up for my future. If I want to have a family, if I want to have a home. So that's what inspired me to kind of, build a foundation at home, and start building up my design businesses and doing stuff like that. I never lost the desire to compete. I'll still play local B tiers, A tiers, whatever's around in Minnesota. I'll play all the time. I still like hunger for that and yearn. And if I don't play a tournament for a couple of weeks, I go stir crazy. I mean, I still just love it. And, I'm at a point right now where I'm 41 years old. I have no illusions that I can play forever. But I do feel like I can play right now still. And I built this foundation. And so I'm going to use these next few years to really recommit myself to at least, trying to make a couple big splashes at a couple big events, play a handful of Pro Tour events every year, try to play the majors, and see what I have left. And, I don't want to be like 50 years old and wishing that I would have played more. So this is the time to do it. And it's gonna start this year.
So is this new deal with Discraft, has this given you a little bit more resources, if you will, to be able to go back out on the road and play more events?
No, it's not necessarily that. It's just everything, the perfect storm of it all happening at one time. I just feel like I'm in a really good place at home. I've created a balance with my family and my work life. And, just hitting 41 years old is honestly kind of all that did it for me. I just I don't want to just waste too many more good years that I have to play. I'm inspired. I still watch Pro Tour events every time that they're on. I know everything that's happened in the disc golf world, and I'm inspired by it all. And I just, I want to be a part of it.
Love that. Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely, a handful of tournaments, maybe more than that you can win, which is exciting. And I've always wondered, I'm like, why the heck is this guy not playing these? When I saw you play, I think we played at Waco, my first round. And I was like, this guy's incredible. And then I didn't see you. I mean, obviously COVID and all that stuff kind of happened, but
yeah,
I was like, why is this guy not playing in more tournaments? So I think a lot of people would love to see you back out there. I think one thing too that sets you apart, not obviously your personality is a huge one, but your style of play. There's a lot of guys that, quite frankly, aren't really enjoyable to watch play. They might be very good, but for whatever reason, they look funky, they're janky, whatever it is. People love watching you throw the Frisbee. And so I think a lot of us are really excited to see you back out there.
Well, I think it's I appreciate that, but I think it's maybe because I'm relatable to the more average player, because I don't throw very far. But
I don't know about relate. I think a lot of people would disagree about relatable. You just hitting lines all the time. I think people would be like, wait a second, I don't do that ever. But the distance thing, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think my way through a course and try to just minimize mistakes and play consistent. But yeah, I appreciate all the things you said, and I just haven't had that juice in a few years now of being in contention at a large event, and there's nothing like it. It's the last time I probably had it was Waco a couple years ago, and it's a feeling I haven't had in a little while, and I know I can still get there, and I'm excited to try.
That's sick. Yeah, I think we're all excited to see it. All right, so any sort of play with designing discs, anything like that? We did see that you do have a Z color shift zone that if you guys haven't picked that up, make sure you go check that out over at Discraft. But any like potential designing of new discs, new molds, anything like that with Discraft?
I think that there is potential for that to happen in the future, but obviously Discraft has so much stuff going on right now that they're working on, and so maybe that's something that we might try to address next year or something like that. I would be interested. But no, nothing urgent whatsoever. Right now, the only thing that's urgent is me learning these discs. What
does that look like?
Well, I just got to Arizona today. I drove straight to Vista, throwing all these new discs that Paul just gave me last week. So thank you, Paul. Those nukes are absolutely beefcake bombers, like you said they were. But yeah, I'm playing the Memorial this week, and there's a lot of water holes, and I got a lot of learning to do tomorrow because the tournament starts on Thursday.
Is there any discs or anything like that jumping out at you as like this is going to be your kind of bread and butter or anything like that?
I mean, I've seen Paul and AB and others throw the Luna for a few years now, and to actually throw that and see, I mean that's a pretty special disc. I've been having a lot of fun with that. I do put a lot of spin on my putters and mid ranges, and I'm able to get a ton of distance out of that thing. Super accurate, so I've really been enjoying that. And then there's a couple new discs like the Captain's Thrasher, the Venom. Those are absolute bombers that I wasn't really even aware of that I was going to be interested in, and I was throwing those today and throwing them well. I mean, yeah, it's going to be. There's too many discs. I'll say that because I got to narrow it down and make my bag by tomorrow.
Do we have any forehand discs in the bag?
Yeah, I mean, you might see a forehand zone in the woods, but that's about all I got.
Okay, fair enough. That's it. I mean, Yuli, is there a more scary course to play with new discs than Fountain Hills?
Fountain.
No, I mean it's honestly not that scary if it's calm, but as soon as it gets a little windy out there, man, that's one of the most terrifying discs, courses in the world because it's the one course where 17 under par is kind of looking at you right in the face when it's calm out there, and then as soon as it gets windy, you're like, 4 or 5 under par is a good round.
And that fountain, that fountain does weird stuff with the wind. I don't know what it is with the water and whatnot.
The fountain creates its own wind. It can be dead calm, and that fountain will turn on, and then all of a sudden you'll get a little 15 mile per hour. It always happens right when I get to the peninsula holes too. I swear.
It's always when I tee off. I feel like. Of course. I watched 7 groups park hole 1 every single time, and then the fountain turns on right to left crosswind. I'm just trying to throw it in bounds.
I was gonna say hole 1. Is there more terrifying hole to like after you've driven 6 hours in the car, you get out, you get a couple of these, like, all right, and you step up and you're like, all right, I think I need to warm up a little bit before I try to throw this shot. I don't know if it comes through on camera, but hole 1 is like, it's not a fun hole to just start your round on.
No, and the thing is you're practicing like 2 miles away. There's no place to warm up and throw.
I
And
forgot
so,
about that.
And so typically too, because it's such a treacherous hole, the tee times are backed up. So you're like, okay, got to get to my tee time. You get there and it's like a 30-minute wait. And now you're like, okay, can't miss my tee time because of the 5-minute rule now. And then you got to wait an extra 30 minutes of not throwing at all. And then of course the fountain turns on, like I said, and then it's like, yeah, but in that regard, I think that's one of the funnest courses to play, because if you're not mentally ready for kind of the stress of like losing your disc left and right because of a little breeze here and there, there's a lot of rollaway possibilities that it really tests your mental ability. If you're not sharp, it'll bite you.
The only hole I can think of, only hole one that I can think of is more challenging, was whatever that was, that Jones East or whatever.
Oh my gosh,
whatever
it's
that
the
hole
silliest
was,
hole ever,
where people were just jump putting safe off of because everyone was terrified of going OB on their first shot. Oh my god, I'll never forget. Like, they're introducing the World Championship. They're like, Eagle McMahon, and he just steps up and he's like jump puts like 100 foot off the first tee, and I'm just like, what? We probably shouldn't be playing this course anymore. I don't know if this is a good world's course.
Cale, what about course design? Talk a little bit about that. And are you excited to, have some new basket opportunities?
Yeah, people were wondering, are you changing out baskets?
I mean, yeah. It's super exciting. That was, something that was definitely on my mind when making the decision. I love the Chainstar Pro. Talking to Bob, that was one thing that we're going to do is, the Chainstar Pros are typically red, and then the Macbeth Foundation courses are all blue. So he was willing to let me choose a color for any the courses that I'm designing. So
very cool.
I think we decided that we're going to go on a blaze orange. And so any course that I'm going to be designing from here on out will have, my kind of signature on it with those baskets. So that'll be awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. And I have a few projects in the works. One actually, Brody, down at University of Texas, Arlington.
Oh,
yeah,
down in Austin.
Yes, sir. No, Arlington.
Oh, do they? Oh, I didn't even know they had a campus there.
Yeah, they got a campus. So I'm like going a week before Waco and getting started on that project. So yeah, that'll be really fun. There's a couple courses that I did at the end of last year that haven't been put in the ground yet. That'll be really exciting too. So it'll be really nice to get those orange baskets out on these new courses.
Yeah, hit me up before when you're in town or something. I might come down there and shoot a video or something if you got stuff going on over there. That'd be very cool.
I would love that.
Are there also other potential opportunities too, getting kind of you being such a huge part of your local scene in disc golf? Is that another thing of potentially trying to get Discraft more into the, players pack, whether it's player packs and tournaments or in local events or anything like that? Is that another kind of big thing you're going to be doing this upcoming year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a airborne tour that we kind of started running years ago that my partner and I, Odie, do. And we have a couple, we have some huge AM events. Our Majestic Amateur Tournament's got 250 players. We have our Earth Day event. Those are April, May. So, being able to be at the Discraft warehouse last week and kind of handpick a lot of the discs for the players packs.
Nice.
It's just going to blow these guys' minds when they, I got some great stamps and some great discs that we're going to be able to give out. But yeah, that's the goal. When I started playing, Minnesota was extreme Discraft state. The guy that I looked up to, his name was Timmy Gill, was a longtime Discraft sponsor player. And that's definitely my goal.
I like it. I kind of want to see, I don't know if they've ever done this, but I would love to see like a US map of where, like, whatever the most predominant disc like the disc that's used. I would love to see a US map of where it's like, these states are Innova, these are Discraft, these are Discmania. It'd be very interesting to see what that looks like. Because there are certain states that are like die hard for a certain manufacturer, and then others where it's just like doesn't exist at all. Maybe Edwin one day can go out and do that. And it is nice that you got some good discs into some player packs, because I think I've only ever had discs from 2 tournaments. One Worlds, when Dynamic Disc did it at Emporia, they gave us some sort of disc. And then there was another tournament. I'm not gonna say what tournament or what disc it was, but they gave it to me and I was like, I mean, this is going straight to the corgis. Like I've got zero use for this thing. So I do think sometimes these tournament player packs, I'm sure some of our listeners listening, they're like, this is just a great way for people to get rid of discs, is just to put them in these player packs. So, hey, if you want some good discs, Cale's literally pulling these bad boys fresh off the shelves at Discraft. So jump into I'm sure you don't need help getting your tournaments filled, but
no, those ones are long filled. But I appreciate the shout out. But
maybe in the future,
right?
Get on the wait list. Is there anything else kind of going on, Cale, that we didn't touch that you'd like to discuss?
No, I'm sure, I didn't catch what you guys were talking about before. I was kind of struggling to get back to Ricky's house in that Arizona traffic, but yeah, you guys got Kenny on. You got an interview that's coming on tonight.
Ken, we did a little interview with Ken earlier in the day, so it's pre-taped. That'll come on towards the end of the podcast. He was obviously always great to talk to. But yeah, kind of a crazy time. Let me ask one take, because I'm curious with you on this. Me and Yuli go back and forth all the time. He's a big team guy. I'm a big anti-team guy. But one thing that we kind of both agree on here is team disc golf might be the future of disc golf potentially.
You guys, I've been listening to the debates. I'm all for it.
What are your thoughts on that?
I love it. The only thing I don't know is where the money comes from for that aspect. Like, is it going to be the manufacturers kicking it all in?
Well, let me ask you this. What can Discraft right now, because we're talking Discraft, what can Discraft right now do to get sponsorships? Their tournaments, right? That's all they can do pretty much. So they're reaching out to someone to say, hey, we're going to have a couple hundred people at this tournament. We're going to have a couple thousand people watch this tournament. Do you want to give us some money? Now, what if, though, there was a team Discraft and they were able to go and say, hey, do you want to sponsor our team? We've got Anthony Barella. We got Paul Macbeth. We've got Chris Dickerson. We got Missy Gannon. What do you think is more likely to get sponsored there? They're going to wear your stuff. They're going to put it in their social medias. They're going to do all this. So
that's a real good point. Like I sponsor, basketball teams, softball teams for Airborne. I just sponsored my buddy's curling team.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I'm totally with you. And when I hear you guys talk about this in the last few episodes, it gets me excited. I really hope that we can adapt this and make it happen. And I mean, is there talks of it going to start potentially?
There's some rumors of it potentially.
Some whispers of like a manufacturer's cup.
Yes, there's stuff, but I haven't really seen anything. The biggest thing about this is like, I still think right now, live disc golf, professional disc golf, we're trying to get people to care. We're trying to get people to tune in. And that is always the hardest thing for everyone, is like, how do we get someone to care about our product? Disc golf already has that. People care about Discraft. People care about Innova. There's people that are crazy about MVP. That's already built up. All the hard stuff is there. And so what are we doing? Like, I don't know what we're doing.
I absolutely love it. I can already like picture scenarios coming down to the wire in the team aspect. I think it would be so exciting.
And let's just be dead honest with everyone right now. It honestly does not matter that you left Prodigy and went to Discraft. Really, at the end of the day, it does not matter. However, if you're leaving Team Prodigy and you're becoming Team Discraft, and now people are like, holy cow, they've got this guy that's disgusting in the woods. They're going to be so much better when they play Waco. Oh my God, I can't wait. You see what I'm saying? There's now this actual conversation. People already care when players are moving, sponsorships, when really at the end of the day, it's not really that big of a deal. Imagine if it turned into
I think it's a big deal.
Sure. But imagine if it turned into like an actual, when it came to like the professional side, imagine if it turned into a big deal of where if you're a huge Discraft fan and then all of a sudden you've got the freaking Woods Master coming into your team, you got trash to talk about. You know what I'm saying? I think, I don't know. You already have people talking about it. I think we go that route.
Well, we gotta, I mean, maybe we just gotta start small with the idea and just pick
Like
one
a
event,
tournament?
pick one event and do it and just show the Pro Tour, show the Disc Golf Network folks how many people are going to tune in. It would be huge. I know it would be.
Because the other thing is right now, can we all agree press conferences are like the lamest and boringest thing ever?
Yeah, I think
they're bad.
I think they get a little redundant. Yeah.
They're bad. Now imagine Yuli having to pick 6 players to play at the first tournament of the event. Who's he leaving off?
Not me.
People are gonna be asking. you know what I'm saying? People are gonna be asking. And then if you get left off, people are gonna be asking, how do you feel being not playing? And if someone got picked and everyone's like, why the heck did Yuli pick that guy? And that guy goes out there and sucks. People are gonna be asking Yuli, why'd you pick that guy?
I'm not gonna make a mistake like that. Here's the thing.
There would just be so much chatter. And we talk all the time about how like cool the President's Cup is on here. And you put it at the beginning of a major. So like no one really cares about it already. Yeah. Everyone's focused on the major. And then as soon as it's over, everyone's definitely focusing on the major. And I don't know. It gets me fired up. It gets me hyped up.
It gets me fired up too. And I am I love a lot of the different angles that you bring, and different ideas. And I think this is definitely one that would be just huge. Maybe I try to pitch Jeff and make the preserve the first one this year. Maybe we could do it.
To be spicy. Okay, well here's a question for you. If you had to play, okay, because I think the way I'm viewing it right now, I'm thinking there's like multiple stages. There's like one round where it's like doubles, right? And then there's like a round where it's like singles and all this stuff. There's different ways of doing it. Who would you pick to be your doubles partner at the preserve?
Me?
Yep. You're on Team Discraft now. Yuli's coming to you and is saying, hey, who do you want? Who do you want to team up with? Who are you picking?
I mean,
let me pick his partner and then let me ask if he's
yes.
And then let me ask if he's going to have a problem with it. I'm going to pair him up with. Ooh, that's kind of a tough one.
I know.
It's kind of a tough one. Cale,
especially at the preserve.
At the preserve.
Give me some distance, Yuli.
I'm gonna give you that, of course.
There's a couple people that bomb.
There is a couple people that bomb.
I have mine in my head that I think would be perfect.
You know what? My head goes into this. This is the way I think of it, is you need to obviously have a combo of personalities, and you need those personalities to match well on the course. I think that's a big thing and I think Cale's calmness and presence would really match well with AB because of the way that AB is. He's calm as well, and we can see him kind of maturing and having like a veteran and the new big bomber together, I think could give you both aspects. But you got to understand that another captain is going to see that too, and then try to pair up somebody that's going to crush them. So it's actually a harder decision.
Wait, Cale, before you pick, let me throw mine out there. Maybe some guy that's got a powerful forehand. Maybe some guy that struggles around the putting green every once in a while could really use someone. Give me the goose man. Give me the goose man.
Oh, goose.
Goose and Cale.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. It's funny because I was initially thinking AB too. AB's my boy. That'd be fun. Brody, I thought you were going with yourself there for a second when you started talking about
top 25 forehand. Everyone kind of knows that already. I mean, that's
but you're a good putter. But then you threw us off with the putting.
When you said the putting thing, I'm like, I've never seen Brody miss a putt when I play with him, so I don't know what he's talking about. But
yeah, I think you and Goose would be great. But you say AB just because like you kind of have a little bit of personality vibes there already.
I was hoping for AB. I mean, just to be able to be doubles partner at the preserve and being able to attack some of those holes. But you guys know I get along with everybody, so I'll take Goose. That'd be fun too.
All right, here's another thought too. One of the people's favorite videos that we do on tour is worst shot. What if there was a worst shot triples? Like one team versus the other team gets to pick where you have to play your next shot from. So like everyone throws, the other team says you guys have to throw your next shot from there. A worst shot triples round. Is that something that you think people would get behind? Because they love it when we do it.
Ooh, I'm picking Dickerson. I got to pair him up with Dickerson. Just two absolute carving machines that are going to just absolutely destroy you with consistency and crisp bombs.
That would be a tough team, Cale.
Take it. See, Dick.
And now you're bringing the fear because the person, whoever's playing you guys, is going to come in and be like, well, we know there's a mark we have to hit because they're definitely shooting at least this. You know what I mean?
Well, so do you think you would go? You think you would do it like a match play?
I mean, there's going to be different. Like you said, I feel like when I visualize it, it's going to be singles, and I'll be able to pick people to do the singles and pair those up, and I'll also be able to make double. You're using your whole team, right? Or
yeah. My thought was more, instead of like match play, my thought was more. It would almost be like you would have your doubles matches, and those all count. They would just like automatic count, and then you'd have like singles, but maybe only like the top 5 of the 7 score. So like if you have 2 guys that have a bad, or someone gets injured or something like that, it doesn't destroy your team.
And
but
a match play, obviously.
Final
round match play.
There's so many different ways of doing it, and I think, man,
I love alternate shot dubs. I feel like that's such a true doubles format. Great for camaraderie, and it's tough. That's a lot of pressure.
That is.
You don't want to let your partner down when he throws a good drive for you.
Yeah, I would love to explore it more. I think you're right, Cale, in the idea of like, let's just try it at an event. Let's just see what happens.
We know what's going to happen. It'd be
awesome.
A hit. It'd be awesome.
And then I'm going to pick Ken Climo and Nate Dawson play together too.
Because we did talk about this a little bit on the off-season podcast. This is where I don't think it works. Is if you're like, hey, let's have team Las Vegas, and that is going to be Simon and Paul and Gannon, and then you're going to have team New York. That's going to be Ricky, AB, and Isaac. Like there, I don't think that works. I don't think if you grab guys and put them on teams and like try to build a team like that, I think you got to go with the manufacturers. I think it's the only way. I think you got to go like the F1 route, right? Where it's like, I'm a diehard Ferrari guy. I love Red Bull or whatever. I don't know. I think you can make sick gear, sick merch from it. I think also it helps a lot with some of the maybe guys that can't move plastic by themselves by being attached to a really solid team and having some like team discs or like some doubles disc. There's I don't know. I think there's a lot of endless possibilities. I would love to see it.
So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your triples thing, but it dawned on me that Dickerson's kind of the man.
The triples
and look what I'm wearing his shirt right here.
The more I think about it, the more I think it might have to be like worst shot doubles, because worst shot triples could be
that might get a little sloppy.
That might be a long round. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I think the worst thing they could do right now is just be complacent and try to do the same old and say, hopefully this year it works. Hopefully this year something happens.
One of the best things you can do too is a match play tournament. And I don't think they did that in the right way. The last time they did it, they picked like the top 12, like, okay, you got the top 12. There's no stories behind that. If you do it on like a match play tournament at like a De La Viega or something to where anything can happen. Like there's a lot, you can have a really a storybook player who nobody really knows about. He's a local guy, but he knows the place. And the first round he's up against Gannon and he takes him down. You know what I mean? And he moves on to the next round. And there's just a lot of like storytelling that can happen with match play at courses like that. Because it's not a guarantee. You take a 7, who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it doesn't count. It's just hole to hole to hole. And I think that those are some of the best ones or best tournaments to watch, especially in traditional golf with the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
We-
it's not cumulative score. You know, the
Yeah.
shot making that people would go for would be so exciting for viewers to watch. Well,
I think it's got to be on the right course, though, right?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I
Idlewild
think
be a
the
great
second
one.
I get off this call, I'm calling Jeff Brody.
All right. Pet peeves. Pet peeves. You got any new pet peeves for the people?
Right.
Anything driving you crazy?
You know, I do have a pet peeve. I play a lot of local tournaments. I know Yuli plays a couple, so he can relate to this a little bit. But you know, you come off the course after having like a not great round. You got a couple random local guys coming up to you, being like, "What'd you shoot?" You tell them, and they're like, "Oh, they're like, yeah, if I would have made one more putt, I would have tied you," or you know. And I'm like, "No, yeah, I played perfect. I played perfect all around. Nothing went wrong." But yeah, no, just some local razzing. That's always fun.
So is that worse or better than finishing a round and you played terrible? You're in a really bad mood. Someone asks you how you played, and you're like, "I shot this" or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, that's so much better than I could have done." What's worse?
That might be worse. And it's funny because whenever people ask me that and I'm not in a good mood, I'm just like, not good.
Yeah.
Not good,
Yeah.
man. I don't want to talk numbers.
What do you guys think about that? Like, at what point are you supposed to tell a little fib, to make people happy? Like you're sitting there, I've had several rounds like that where I just had the worst round of my life. And they're like, how'd it go? Are you supposed to be like, hey, you know what? I had fun. That's the number one thing is having fun. Or are you allowed to be like, man, it didn't go great? Cause I try to take the route of like telling the truth. And sometimes it bites me in the butt, with fans for me to be like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I didn't play good. And you can kind of put some people off. And I struggle with that personally to where am I supposed to be like, hey, you know what? I'm out here playing disc golf. Things could be worse. You can also take that route, which is also true. But, as an athlete in the moment, like those are tough things to kind of deal with.
Well,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just, we care so much, when we're out there playing, when things are not going our way and you get done with the round, it's hard not to be emotional. I mean, I think I think it's only natural. I don't think you should try to like hide that because that's the reality of what we're dealing with out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's tough.
So I think too, where disc golf and it has changed, right? There's from the tournament that I played and Waco in 2020 versus the tournaments now, they have drastically changed, and some tournaments are way better than others. There are still some tournaments where you get out of your car and there's like someone there waiting for you, where you're just like, this person probably shouldn't be in the players' parking lot, but it is what it is. This is just something where I think, hopefully 20, 30, 40 years from now, it's not something that is really addressed anymore, but players, fans, I think sometimes expect a little bit more from players than they should, right? At the end of the day, all the players should really do, if they want to go above and beyond, that's great. And those are probably the ones that, maybe sell more discs or maybe more popular. But at the end of the day, you're paying money to go watch them play disc golf, and that is it. They don't owe you anything before the round. They don't owe you anything after the round. And I think in some of these other sports that you watch, like if you go to an NFL game, Cale, are you expecting to have words with the starting quarterback after the game?
Obviously, no. I gotta figure out what happened last night. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what I'm saying? Like no other really professional sport that is, established are you expecting when you go to the game to actually have an interaction with them. And I think disc golf, it used to be that way. I mean, heck, you would have interactions with people on your card. Mm-hmm. I remember playing with people my first year out, and like I felt so bad for some people because it's like this guy simply is just in the tournament to play with these top pros, to get close to them, right? Mm-hmm. And like that puts them in a really, really awkward spot because now it's like, brother, I'm doing my job, which is trying to win this tournament and play. I shouldn't have to deal also with like a fan Because then, like Yuli said, it puts me in a weird spot. Like, am I supposed to be nice to this person? Am I supposed to lie to this person? You're not supposed to be in that spot in the first place. Or at least you shouldn't have to be in that spot. If you want to put yourself there, Yuli, if you want to walk over to the autograph line and talk to people and sign and all that, that's on you. But I think before, like, people would just come up with you. Like, there was no separation.
There was no ropes. And that was actually a learning experience with Steve Dodge, because we had a big meeting on. He asked, like, hey, how do we make disc golf even better? And I said, put a rope in between us and the fans. That's really the first step.
Yeah. Because
as soon as you do that, this is my space, that's your space, don't come over here. And if we exchange words, that's actually extra. That's an extra thing that you get, because these guys, us over here, we have a second and we can have that small interaction or something. But the privacy right there, now you're actually paying for something instead of just walking over, because, in the olden days, you'd play and people would just like walk up to you during the tournament and ask for you to sign.
What'd you throw right there? You
no. Not only that, they would tell you, yeah, that's not the right route. Like, everybody go ask Cale. I'm not making this. Yeah. They would tell you the routes to throw, and you're like,
insider info.
I'm like in the middle of something right here, like, you know what I mean? And so the rope actually helps a lot. And there's little things like that you can do. And I'm not saying like I want to like completely negate everybody and nobody matters. But it makes it more important. The athlete needs to be important because you're paying for something. That's why in traditional golf, if you show up in the player's parking lot and you're sitting outside of his window, you could get arrested. Like, that's the reality of the situation. Like, you're a stalker at that point. You know what I mean? You can't run out on the field ever at a professional event.
And let me push back a little bit. We got a commenter on here. Mike Thomas just said, I do think players owe a visit to the autograph tent after the rounds most of the time. Disc golf is not established yet, needs the interaction. I agree to an extent. If you didn't write most of the time, which I think kind of saves you, I would disagree, because there is a time and a place, right? Yeah. And that was the whole thing, is like, there's 100% of time and the place. And another thing too that people don't understand is one of the reasons why I don't like a lot of the times, like how disc golf, and Cale, I would love to actually know your opinion on this because you're a tournament director. One of the things I can't stand is as soon as someone taps out their putt, they immediately get handed a trophy. They immediately get like a microphone in their face, and they have no time to like actually understand the moment and really put themselves in a spot. And that's where it's like the way that they have it set up currently, of where there is an autograph spot. You can go to it if you want. You don't have to go to it. It gives players at least the time to like, hey, you know what? I need to decompress. I need to think about some things, and then I'm going to come back to the autograph, versus feeling like they have to go to it right after their round. Yeah. And so that's what I'm thinking. And what are your thoughts on that? What's with the deal of like the hurry of getting players? We don't have another program. It's not like we're ending our program at a certain time to get another program on air. Like, what are your thoughts on getting a microphone in someone's face right after they win?
Yeah, I think that's just, for DGN, they got the viewers there right then. And so that's how it's traditionally been done the last few years in disc golf. But obviously, you're coming from other sports backgrounds where golf, they go back into the locker room and change.
Let it breathe a little bit.
And then they come out.
Typically, they actually do have the microphone kind of right in their face lately. Right after, but they don't do the award ceremony till after.
Hey, and boys, I just got to say something. I was not very prepared. I'm down to 1% battery life. And so
that's perfect.
I just want to say, just want to make sure I don't get cut off from you guys. And I'm actually going, Paul's mom is taking Ricky and I out to dinner tonight.
Very nice.
So, Yuli, you should be here.
I know, man. Well, tell my mom I love her, and you're gonna have a great time. Mom's everybody's favorite.
Yeah, she's never taken me to a bad restaurant. That's for sure. No, she's taken it's called the Italiano. Apparently, she said it's just amazing.
Well, enjoy dinner, Cale. We appreciate you hopping on, brother. You're always a pleasure to talk to, and always welcome.
Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm glad I didn't get cut off from you.
Yeah,
my phone died.
All right, brother. Take it easy. Bye. All right, folks. You might be seeing a little more Cale out on the course this year. Yuli, I wouldn't hate that.
And the thing about Cale is he says he's going to try. That dude's going to be in contention, guaranteed. At some point this year, you will see him on the lead card. That's how good this guy really is. And when you talk about actual athletes that are in our sport, you're looking at one of them when you see Cale. Like he's an actual athlete in other sports. Like he has a lot of accolades to support his athleticism and stuff. And with that, comes that winning mindset. That guy's a winner. And so I have no doubt that you'll see him on lead cards this year, and I'm excited to watch it.
I'd love to see it. All right, let's jump into, before we get into our next topic here, Silas, I think, has another ad read for us.
Yes, it's the start of a new year, and that means making resolutions. One of my New Year's resolutions is to take care of my body better. That includes physically, emotionally, and mentally. Today's sponsor is Magic Mind. Mental wealth is about investing in habits today that build your resilience for future challenges. It's like creating a mental savings account. You can withdraw from it when life gets tough. Sleep, diet, exercise, stress management, exogenous compounds are the core focuses of Magic Mind. It's a tool to enhance focus and improve sleep as part of a bigger strategy. The Magic Mind Mental Performance Shot provides focus, clarity, a sharper mind, less stress, clean energy. It does not replace coffee. It's an addition to your morning routine, just like your daily essential vitamin. Additionally, they have Magic Mind Sleep, and it helps you fall asleep faster and get a deeper rest. All ingredients are third-party tested, sourced from the best suppliers, and they donate 5 cents each per bottle sold to mental health charities that help U.S. homeless communities. Click the link in the description to get 45% off the Magic Mind bundle. Magic Mind has been in development for over 10 years to perfect their formula, and over 200 scientific studies are behind every ingredient found in both Magic Mind products. Again, click the link in the description or go to magicmind.com/tourlifejan to get 45% off the Magic Mind bundle. Thanks to Magic Mind for sponsoring this episode.
Love it. Let me put a bow on this too, because we still have some comments flying in on the last thing we were just talking about, which is like the autographs and signing and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of a big topic. Like it's like kind of cut in the middle of where people do understand it, and then you get a lot of pushback of being like, no, you owe that to me. I buy your disc, blah, 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 blah. Which I'm not saying that I don't owe you anything. I owe you gratitude. And I personally, and Brody can attest to this, and my fans, I stay after and I sign a lot of autographs. Like I do that. But there was probably 2 tournaments last year where I got done with my round and I walked past the booth. And I did that because I was not in a mood, and people might go like, well, get in the mood. Like we deserve that type thing. But I don't want to have an interaction that'll put you off. It's like after somebody gets in a big argument with somebody, you don't want to talk to them right away. You know what I mean? That's not the time to go and be like, oh, that's my favorite person, and you just saw this thing happen. We care about it so much that it does hurt when your time and your effort, you go out there and you're putting everything you have into it, and then all of a sudden it doesn't come back. Like that's everything to us, the preparation that you put in. Like that's what people don't see, the hours and hours of preparation. Like that's hard work that sometimes, because we play a silly game where you get bad kicks and you go out of bounds, sometimes it gets thrown back in your face, and that hurts.
Yeah. The only thing I would like to see is I would like to see there be more of a positive outlook on it versus a negative outlook on it. Right now we're seeing people being like, well, that guy sucks. He didn't stop to sign autographs. That guy has a big ego. He didn't do autographs. He didn't take photos. I think what we need to do is switch it to where the people that don't do it, just be neutral. Who really cares? And the people that do it, give them you know what I'm saying? Like there needs to be more a positive outlook on the people that do it versus focusing the negative outlook on the people that don't. That's the only thing I would like to see on that. And hopefully that changes some people's minds on it. All right, let's jump into, before we get Climo on here, let's jump into the last thing I want to talk about. The rumors going around and around and around about your guy, Ricky Wysocki. Now, whether you want to talk about this or not, Yuli, it's completely on you. But I'm going to lay out some facts that were brought up on Grip Lock this week. Hunter and Trevor kind of went through a bunch of stuff and kind of debunked a lot of it. So the first thing was there was an AMA of an old Dynamic Disc employee on Reddit that confirmed that there had been talks about reducing or potentially looking at maybe letting go of Ricky from Dynamic Disc. There's also there was talks or people noticed that Ricky's retail store in Arizona went through a rebrand. So he's a part owner. It was initially called Dynamic Disc Phoenix. And now it's called Disc Golf HQ Phoenix. So people are like, what's up with that? Then people were saying Ricky doesn't have Dynamic Disc in his Instagram bio. Then there was this photo that he posted where there was like potentially a Swarm disc in the background. And people are like, why the heck does he have a Swarm disc on the counter of his bathroom? That's weird. So a couple of these things were debunked, right? The first one is a lot of Dynamic Disc stores are either closing or being rebranded across the country. Ricky's never had Dynamic Disc in his Instagram bio. He actually currently still has it in his Twitter bio right now. And people are maybe speculating that the post on social media might be a troll job because it kind of got brought up. Now, what I'll say about that, though, Yuli, Ricky normally always responds. And by normally, I mean he's always responded to me. Whether he says, yes, I want to come on the podcast, or no, I don't want to come on the podcast. This is the first time I've texted him and he didn't respond.
Well, he does have a big week. I mean, Cale's staying with him.
Fair.
Going out to dinner with my mom right now. A little busy.
I'm just saying, coincidence or not? I'm throwing it out there. Is that a coincidence or is it not a coincidence?
Well, what are you alluding to?
Well,
what are we trying to get into here?
So there's a lot of thoughts that Ricky might be leaving Dynamic Disc.
Okay.
Early. That is the thought. That is the speculation. That he might be out the door. There was also, I think Kona also got brought up. Kona Montgomery got brought up as also potentially, something with her contract as well. Yeah. There's a lot of talks going on. And so we'll kind of see what happens here with everything. And I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of this stuff is obviously big speculation, right?
Sure. But that's our job. I mean, I'll put my analyst hat on for a second and
sure.
Go through it. I mean, having a disc in your background when you take a picture, the guy has 1 million people going through his house weekly who are disc golfers, and they are all not just dynamic players. I mean,
bathroom's a weird spot.
His brother lives there.
Okay.
Zach Wysocki, who's not sponsored, and I'm pretty sure he throws a bunch of different discs. I mean, I think that when it comes down to it, the stuff that was on like Reddit and stuff was very interesting to see kind of the inside information of what's going on with Dynamic. Do I think it's like this lovely relationship with him and Kona? Well, judging by this guy's stuff, which I don't know how face value we can take it from somebody who, got fired. Got fired. But with that being said, outside perspective is Dynamic's not doing good. So would I be surprised if Ricky left? Kind of. And the reason I say that is because it's a big contract and those are tough to get out of. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not like when you have $1 million contract, another company's going to come in and be like, hey, here's $2 million to come over here. Let's try to work this thing out.
Not in this economy.
That's not the economy that we live in. So that's where I would put my thoughts there. And then the Kona thing to go along with it, I haven't seen a lot of stuff as far as her moving somewhere else too, which I feel like would probably get leaked. And I haven't heard a lot of things getting leaked about Ricky's. It's all speculation. And so with those things, I think this is something that we have to wait to kind of unfold if there's something to unfold. And I don't know, with disc golf the way that it is, I would say Dynamic probably isn't in the best spot, judging by the guy who got fired. But like I said, how do we take that as real value? I just saw them actually pull somebody and put them on the team and Parker Welk, who's a really good player. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they're pulling a move of, hey, we're getting rid of everybody and we're not even picking people up. So that's what I would say as far as me putting my analyst hat on and kind of going through those things.
The one additional piece that I left out that might be the biggest piece of them all is bringing in, a fan favorite here on Tour Life, Drew Gibson. He always finds his way into the conversation, and supposedly someone went back and found in a video that he said something, again, like context matters for sure, but he did say something along the lines of like, oh, I told Ricky that I wasn't going to talk about his contract or something this offseason. And also Drew has posted the wait until you hear this, it's going to turn the disc golf world upside down, whatever that tweet was that went out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I again, it's all fun and games talking about what's happening, what's going on and all that stuff. I think it's a little bit more fun and games when it's like positive, of where it's like this other company is going to buy out this person's contract and take them and all this stuff. But it'll be interesting to see. And here's the thing. If something, I hope whatever happens, I hope we do get Ricky to come on to talk about it. Because I think people, whether he ends up staying with Dynamic or he ends up going with somewhere else, and we're all shocked and being like, oh my gosh, I think we'd love to talk to him about it. But I will say this. If stuff is happening and it's pissing him off, that's a bad thing for everyone else. Because a pissed off Ricky,
he's a scary person on the course.
I don't know. We want to see someone that's like, oh, you don't think I'm worth, you know what I'm saying? Like there's something like conversations like that. Like, oh, you don't think I'm worth it? Let me show you. Right.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see all that. So we'll see what happens from it. But yeah, that was kind of the talk, the rumors flying around, people speculating and all that stuff. It's be interesting to see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
Size, did we miss anything? Anything else? Yuli, do you have anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Fair enough. Yuli, was there anything we missed?
No, I don't think so.
All right. I think we hit everything, and we won't keep you guys waiting any longer. We'll bring on the champ himself to discuss all that is going down with him and Climo Disc Golf right now, and we'll see you guys next week.
We are now joined back once again, Ken Climo, with some exciting news. Last time we talked to you, I want to say was several months ago, and there was some mention of you trying to, be a little bit more involved in disc golf. I mean, this might be as involved as you can possibly get. So I guess just for those that are living under a rock and haven't seen the announcements, if you want to kind of just announce to the world here what is going on in the world of King Climo.
Well, I was approached by Bob Giulio at last year's chess.com invitational with an offer that I really couldn't refuse, which was to partner up and create a new brand, Ken Climo, or Climo Disc Golf. And it's rolling out tomorrow on the website live. You'll be able to purchase products, and really excited. Seems like it's a long time coming for something like this for me. And I'm more than happy and pleased to be partnered with Discraft, and all their team is just awesome. I've had nothing but good rapport with them, and they really know how to treat the player.
So this has been in talks for over almost a year now.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. And yeah, for those that haven't seen, definitely check out the website, climodiscgolf.com, to see all the announcements. I want to first say, I think the documentary that was put out, was that mostly done by Discraft's team, or
Correct.
do you have a team that's kind of working with them as well?
No, that was pretty much Shane and a guy named Jesse. and a few other from Discraft that put that together. And I think it came out really good. The first time I watched it, made me cry.
Yeah, for those that don't know, there's two pieces of content. There's one that's like a 10-minute like a mini documentary, which is, I would say, one of the better pieces of disc golf content I've consumed in the last several years. So definitely watch that one. And then the announcement that actually came out today, which is kind of announcing the discs and what is going to look like for Climo Disc Golf, that is also out as well. So definitely check out both those. I would say in today's video, the thing that hit me the most, I think you've got one of the best taglines in disc golf. When you said at the end, Climo Disc Golf, discover your inner champion, I was like, it's like, I might need to get out and start throw some discs today, Yuli. I was getting
pumped
juiced
out here.
I was getting a little juiced. Okay,
well,
so
you can throw my discs, since everybody on Team Discraft is allowed to throw the Climo disc golf stuff, so you can check them out.
They did just come in for both of me and you.
Nice.
So I'm excited to see what these have in store for us. And
well,
yeah, that was going to be one of the questions: is will players that are sponsored by Discraft be able to use Climo disc golf discs?
Of course. Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. That's cool to know. All right, so the first thing I got to ask you, because I think when the rumors started flowing, right, and people started hearing rumors of you going to Discraft, I think this was a little bit after you made the announcement that you were parting ways with Innova. I think a lot of people were expecting maybe a traditional like icon team sponsorship, something like that, where you were going to be involved. But this new idea that you're starting your own disc golf line, was this mainly Discraft's like proposal to you, or was this kind of the direction that you wanted to go when Bob initially first reached out and asked, hey, do you want to partner up?
No, this was the direction from the beginning from Bob.
Okay. Gotcha. Because I know you had mentioned that you wanted to be more involved in disc golf. So my other question on top of that is there going to be any other connection with Discraft? Because from the videos and everything, it sounds like they're going to be producing the discs and all that jazz. But are you going to be doing any kind of ambassador role with Discraft? Are you going to be in content? Are you going to be involved in working with maybe some of their other releases? Or is this simply just a partnership that they're making your discs, and are they helping with any promotion outside of the initial releases?
Yeah, they're helping with everything, and whatever they want me to be a part of, I'm happy to do for them.
Okay, so do you have a sponsorship deal with Discraft at all?
No, it's more of a brand thing. I'm not really on the icon team or anything like that.
Okay, gotcha. So anything that they reach out to you, there's probably going to be some sort of Climo disc golf involvement with it. Like they're not going to, be like, hey, come to this release of this new Discraft disc that doesn't have anything to do with Climo disc golf, or would they be able? Would you do something like that as well?
I doubt they're going to ask me to do anything like that, but I would if they asked. More so, we're going to be, touting my brand. I'll probably be at the Great Lakes Open, probably maybe even the Ledgestone, some of the bigger tournaments that Discraft sponsors.
Okay,
I'm going to be out at the Supreme Flight Open here in Brooksville, early in the year.
Meet and greet, potential other kind of events built around those tournaments.
Maybe Flex Start or something like that here and there. We're going to have a series of Flex Starts going on here in Florida. That's going to promote the brand. They're doing them on one at my home course, Cliff Stevens, on February 22nd. And then they're going to roll a few out after that, just as a little.
I saw that you had Ken Climo, the new YouTube channel too. I saw the 10-minute docu was put on there. Are you planning on putting more content out on that? Because that's something I feel like the masses would really like right now. See you out there doing a little practice round with some people, sharing your story a little more, or I played with you a couple times. You can talk some good trash out there on the course. I have people. Yeah, that.
All that stuff's going to be, definitely in the future. I'll be looking into doing more stuff like that. Just for now, we're just trying to get the brand off the ground and focus on that. I'm going to go to the Disc East trade show coming up in like a week and a half. I'm going to be up there for a couple days. So kind of try and get out there and, be seen.
Gotcha. What was the reasoning or direction or the ideas behind going to a kind of new, almost similar to kind of what we see with DGA, right? Where DGA is being manufactured by Discraft, but they are kind of separate, because in the announcement, I think that got sent out as well, it did say, it kind of made it a very point that these things were kind of separate from one another. It wasn't like the Paul Macbeth line or the Paige Pierce line that is directly underneath Discraft's line. What was the reasoning for that with Discraft? Did they explain why they wanted to kind of have you have versus kind of falling in line with what they've done with Paul and Paige as well?
Probably because I'm not an active player anymore. I would think that would be the reason. You know?
Okay. Was there any talks about doing stuff like that at all, or was this always kind of the plan from day one?
Yeah, I answered that earlier. Been the plan from day one. Never any talks of anything else.
Okay. So what are some things that we're going to see with the Climo disc golf line that's going to kind of separate it from the DGA line?
I mean, different molds, different flights, different feels, different plastics.
Okay. Yeah, I think there was a lot of talk on whether or not you were going to use the same plastics as some of the other Discraft plastics. So you guys are experimenting with new stuff?
I believe so. And some new techniques. There's like a laser polisher that's going to be involved now.
Interesting.
Like almost a mirror looking finish. I don't know if you got one of those or not.
I mean, these don't feel anything like
they
some
don't.
of the stuff that I've thrown with Discraft, which is awesome, because that really is what I feel like is going to separate, you know, different, like you said, different looks, different feels. That's exactly what this stuff is right here.
That's kind of what we were going for.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Are you guys using any Discraft mold parts, or is everything kind of built from scratch?
I'm sure there's a few that are, you know, in the junk heap right now and they're not getting produced at all, that maybe, you know, got retooled.
Yeah.
Or just totally redone, you know.
Gotcha.
Why waste the metal when you can, you know.
Yeah, when you can make it something good. I like that.
Right.
Are there any plans of sponsoring pros? Like is that something that Climo Disc Golf has in the future, of where there will be because it seems like you guys are trying to build a full line of discs. So is that something in the future that there might be a Climo Disc Golf sponsored pro on tour?
I think would be a good point to start.
Okay.
Yes. It's not, I'm not ruling it out.
Gotcha. Probably not there's 10,000 other things to worry about right now, probably other than that. But there was some chatter of people wanting to know whether that is the issue. So the three molds that have been announced so far is the Climo Skyway, which is the distance driver named after the Sunshine Skyway Bridge in Tampa, 11 speed. Now, is this more of an overstable, neutral? What's the flight of this?
I think if you throw, 75 miles an hour, it's a tad under in the beginning part of the flight, but stables at the end. If you throw anything less than that, it's a bit overstable.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And then we also have the Climo Bel Air, which is the mid-range. That's going to be named after the street where you grew up in Clearwater. This is a beaded mid-range?
Correct. Fairly torque resistant. It's fairly overstable. You can really get on that thing. You can throw it into the wind. Doesn't want to waffle over. It's pretty beefy.
I'm also a fan too, Yuli. I personally am not a huge fan of like just the super like kind of almost what I would call like the Chips Ahoy feel of where if you snap it, it just cracks, kind of hard plastic.
Yeah.
I like a little bit of give, and this plastic has that, which is actually really nice. I know some people love where it's like I want to throw what feels like a brick. I'm not a huge fan of that. I like a little bit of give. I like when I, put pressure down on my thumb that I can feel that kind of happen. And that's what I get with this. So that's what I feel, at least with the mid-range plastic. The putter plastic obviously is a little bit more on the firmer side. It does feel like Yuli, would you agree? It does feel like a different plastic in your hand?
100%. No, this feels amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
The putter feels absolutely
it's firm when you twist it kind of this way.
Yeah. Like you can see
if
that
you put your thumb into it, it's got some tack and some grip.
Exactly.
Oh, it does. Yeah, you actually. Yeah, I see. Oh, so are these all three of these are? I'm assuming the mid-range and the driver might be the same plastic. They feel similar.
Yeah, we're also going to offer those in different plastics in the end. We're going to have a baseline plastic, then we're going to have, maybe an ESP type plastic, and then like a Z type plastic.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna offer them in some different plastics, and I think the putter and mid range will definitely be offered in a base. I'm not sure if the drivers will be.
Gotcha. And I think the putter actually has the best name. The putter is the Climo Champ.
The Champ.
That I think that's my favorite of those three. And obviously there are plans of having new discs come out as well, but these three will be available tomorrow, January 15th at 3 p.m. Eastern on Climo Disc Golf. If you are interested, definitely check that out. Also, I think there is going to be, if you're a retailer and you want to get these in your stores, I think applications are also available right now for that. So I guess my next question right now is like, how does this feel right now? Because last we talked, you were kind of in limbo of like, you want to be more involved. It also kind of, I was getting a little bit of like, I wish I could do more, but right now with the spot I'm in, there's not really much I can do. How does it feel now to have kind of Discraft reach out and say, hey, we want to kind of help facilitate and do as much as you want to do? What does that feel like right now?
I mean, it feels great. It's kind of something I was yearning for, is to, be involved in a bigger level than where I had been. Playing's all great and fun, but getting involved into a totally different level like this, and stepping up a notch. I can't thank Discraft and Bob Giulio more for making the offer to me and really having the respect for what I've done throughout my career to make that offer, because it was their players that I was beating for so many years, in those big tournaments and stuff. And for them to show me that respect, man, it's unbelievable. It really is. It's heartwarming. It's just it's something that me and my family are going to really enjoy. We're going to definitely be on the ball, do what they need us to do, be out there, be seen, do some charity things. I'm scheduled to do a Paul Macbeth Foundation charity 9 holes at at Olympus. So I'm going to be actually playing some disc golf, but it's not too much. I'm not quite ready, I think, for tournaments yet, but I am getting a little bit better. I'm starting to feel a little better. Don't hurt as much after I play. I've been playing a lot more, actually testing these discs out. I've been having to throw a lot more, and I've been testing a lot of the the Discraft line too, so I can kind of give them an idea of what I like, what I don't like, what I want it to fly like, something like that. So I've been out throwing a lot more than I have in the past year or two. These last like 3 months or so, I've been throwing a lot. So, and my body's feeling pretty good. Can't complain.
Nice. Yeah. Remove kind of the merchandise, the disc side of all that. I think the one thing that kind of was missing was, we don't have great like history storytellers. Like I said, like that 10-minute documentary that was on you, like we don't really see that very often. Does your name get dropped here and there on coverage? Sure. But if you're like a new disc golfer coming in to disc golf and you see Climo's name on a disc, there's not really that much to be like, oh, I know exactly who this person is. I think what Discraft is doing for at least the first 2 pieces of content that I've seen is they want to try to get your name out there. They want to kind of put you out there, because I think your story is one to be told and is one to inspire youth and younger players out there to go out there and try to get better. And I think a lot of times that was kind of just, I don't know, I think at a certain point in time, some people maybe get a little lazy with it. And it's like, I don't really want to, I don't know. That's what it kind of felt like with Innova a little bit. Do you see like a new resurgence of fire in you now, kind of with Discraft being this excited about bringing you on board?
I do. I really do. This might even be able to afford me to get my body looked at and maybe fixed. If everything goes good, I can throw some money at that and maybe even get back out there a little bit if I can figure out what's wrong.
Could you imagine seeing all of a sudden the champ just plays Worlds every year? He's just like, yeah, I'll play USDGC Worlds every year. That would be incredible.
He's thinking about it.
He's
like, wait a second.
I can see him over there. Yeah, you miss it, don't you?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. It's just,
what do you miss the most about it? Is it the competition, or is it just being out there?
Oh, definitely the competition, man. I'm a competitor. Yeah.
Have you been paying attention at all to like social media? I don't know if you're like involved. I mean, obviously you kind of finally came out and told everyone that fake King Climo account on Twitter was not you. And I said, hey, at the end of the day, if this guy that created this account ended up getting in King Climo on Twitter, I think that might be a win for all of us, because I think we would all love to hear more from you with your takes on the disc golf world as it is right now. But are you going to be kind of more involved on the social media, and have you been paying attention to what people have been saying about your move to Climo disc golf?
Yeah, I'm going to be more involved, making some posts here and there, check out the discs, things like that. Maybe some videos of me, throwing the discs and making putts with the discs and things. And I just had to, out that guy for being such an idiot, because he was throwing really awful words towards a lot of people that, stuff like that just doesn't need to be said, especially under my name or my guys. So I needed to set it straight that it wasn't me, it was somebody else. And I outed him pretty good. I think I got the hint.
Yeah.
I think that was good. And like I said, if we can see more from you on social media, I think that's a win for everyone in the disc golf world. So what's the next big kind of move? Obviously, the 3 discs are dropping. You said you're going to be at the first stop on the tour. What is the next thing on the horizon that you at Climo Disc Golf is really kind of working on?
Well, just getting a full line of discs out there basically is what we're really striving for in the beginning. We're going to start with 3, and then we're going to come out with another 2 or 3 in the next month or so. And then beyond that, trying to make a full line of discs. I think that's our most important aspect of doing it all, is getting a full line out there, not just having only a couple of choices.
What about like merch? What about shirts, hats? All those
a sick jersey on right now.
That's all going to be on the website as well. We've already got, like you see, I'm wearing one of them right here. We got hats, hoodies. Well, actually not hats yet, but they're going to be hats, hoodies, shirts, T-shirts, bags. We're actually doing some bags too.
Okay.
Oh, are you partnering with anyone with bags, or is that completely separate?
That's going to be a partnership with Grip.
Okay. Oh. Nice. Wow. That's big news. That's very cool to see. Can't wait to see the design of that thing. That thing's probably going to look sick. So you did mention a little bit about potentially, having maybe some of the resources now to go and get your body checked up and see maybe if you get into a spot where you can start competing again. Are there certain courses, you've done a decent amount of coverage now, you've been on the grounds at some of these courses. Are there certain courses that you think right now you have the ability, if you can get healthy and you can get back out there playing, that you can compete with the, the likes of Gannon Burr, Anthony Barella, Ricky Wysocki, guys like this?
I mean, I think I'm a little past my prime in that regard. But there's definitely a few courses out there I think I could hold my own on. USDGC being one of them. You don't need to throw 500 feet there really to have an advantage. You just got to throw accurately and make putts.
Go ahead, Ely.
Oh no, I was gonna say, what about interest in like Masters Worlds?
And
like, I know you've competed in there before and won, obviously. Any interest to get back there and get a couple more titles?
I mean, yeah, that'd be great if I could my body would let me play, 5 or 6 days in a row. It's kind of what it takes,
right,
to play a big event like that. Practicing and then the tournament rounds and things. It takes almost a week's worth of play in a row, and just not quite ready for that yet. But I'm getting close. Yeah,
because we're only probably a couple years off, Yuli, right? But before like a big group of people will be eligible for Masters.
Yeah.
Like a big, say what you want, but like the last maybe 5-10 years, there's been a bigger social media following of players and, better coverage and all that stuff. And so maybe some bigger names are going to be joining into Masters. So that'll be interesting, kind of see how that goes down the road. Was there anything else that we kind of left out? Anything else that you wanted to kind of let people know about?
Just that you're going to see me a little bit more here and there. Like I said, I'm going to be out at a few tournaments with a tent, set up, doing some glad handing, some autographs, just meeting people, spreading the love of disc golf, things like that. Beyond that, if you see me more, it's going to be because my body gets better. I'm going to be playing tournaments. Otherwise,
that's fantastic. Get that body checked out, man.
I hear you. I hear you.
Go.
You're going to see me more on social media for sure. Making a few posts here and there. Definitely on X and Instagram. Probably I'm going to get one set up there, and Facebook.
I was going to say, because I think your insight into the game is awesome, like when it comes to the commentary side, but I think your insight into just like the disc golf industry and the sport itself, I think is welcomed. And, those social media posts that you can just blast on if you hear something, I think all of us would love it. I think all of us would have an idea. And if you're like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to wait to go on Tour Life to drop all these hot takes that I have. We're fine with that too. We always love you coming on here. Do you have any hot takes? I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff outside of Climo Disc Golf. There's a lot of kind of crazy stuff going on right now in the disc golf world. Is there anything that you're seeing that is kind of sparked your interest, or any takes that you have?
I mean, there's a little bit of moving around going on out there. I see quite a few people, shuffling over to different places. And the one biggest thing to me is just all the people that Innova have let go. And, some of their prime players, they just kind of dropped them like a hot rock. Jeremy Coley, Joel Freeman, people of that stature that kind of were some of their best players.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the way that they're going about it is completely different than some of these other companies, which I don't think is necessarily right or wrong. The way that I kind of view Innova as a company is, hey, we're just going to try to make really good discs and market our discs and sell our discs. And if we have pros that want to do that and be a part of it, great, but we're not really going to put that much money or effort into promoting our pros or putting any kind of effort into content creation around them. And others have seen that, hey, if you can put that stuff around and you put that money towards people, then yeah, it might be profitable. But then there's other companies that we've seen, like you said, some players are kind of moving around. I think other companies thought like, hey, we'll just pay this person a lot of money and we're going to sell a lot of discs. And it's like, it is kind of challenging to, and I'm sure you're kind of going through a lot of this right now. It is challenging, all the work that goes into creating a brand and getting a product out there and getting people to buy it. And I just think Innova maybe doesn't have interest in that side of the industry. Is that kind of the gist you get from them as well?
The gist I get. I couldn't tell you exactly, what's going on in their thought processes, but that's definitely the gist I get from it. And Discraft definitely, they're kind of on the ball with all that stuff. They want you to be involved and, every day something new, keep it fresh.
Yeah.
I can't be any more excited about how this is going on. And like you said, I've been super busy this last month or so. I've actually come to Michigan and modeled some apparel for the website and, checked out the factory and checked out the mold machines and the different plastics and things like that. So it's been a whirlwind so far, and I'm just going to keep it going.
Yeah, it's not going to slow down. It's not going to slow down.
One other thing I wanted to ask you before we let you go, and I appreciate you jumping on here and taking the time with us today. I'm sure everyone watching this is loving it. What are your thoughts on this new tour that was announced? Disc Golf Pro Tour right now has got the big one. The PDGA kind of stepped away from the national tour and kind of linked up with the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And now we're seeing this new tour kind of come about. We don't know too much about it. There hasn't been that much information. Do you like the idea of potentially a different tour that maybe has a completely different format? What are your thoughts on that?
I haven't heard anything about it. I know there was some kind of announcement to come, in the future, but I hadn't heard much about the specifics of it. So I really couldn't tell you if I'm on board with it or not.
Gotcha.
I don't know what's going on with it at all, but
yeah, I don't know if they've announced anything new as of yet. I think the website. What's that?
Who are they?
It's Is it Go Throw Disc Golf? Is that what it is, Yuli? I'm trying to remember what it is. So. I think it's GK Pro has rebranded and now have announced, because they do all the GK skins matches.
Yes, I'm familiar with all that.
They've kind of now announced that they're going to kind of go into more of a tour. I think I even agreed to go to one of the events, which I think is actually at Eagles Crossing, I believe. Or no, I think it's in Kansas City. yeah, I think as of right now, again, it seemed like the rollout was kind of quick. Like a lot of the stuff on the website wasn't completely done when it was announced and all that. So, there's some speculation of why they rolled it out so quickly. But yeah, I just didn't know your thoughts on, do you think disc golf having a secondary tour as competition is a good thing? Does disc golf have the ability to even have 2 pro tours with the eyeballs? I'm with you. I kind of leave myself to see what it is before I make any judgments on it, because there's really not that much information. But I thought it was interesting. I think right now in disc golf, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. A lot of people are kind of having to, it looks like, rebalance, if you will, after the COVID boom, right?
Yeah.
I think some companies did a really good job, and I think some companies kind of maybe overestimated it. And there's kind of this rebalancing going on in the disc golf world. So it's kind of fascinating to see all the stuff that's happening. But top news right now, Climo Disc Golf, guys. Again, like I said, tomorrow, January 15th, 3 p.m. Eastern, ClimoDiscGolf.com. Grab your Skyways, your Bel Airs, your Champs. Give them a shot. See how they fly. And we look forward to seeing more from you, Ken. Really appreciate you jumping on here, brother. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and look forward to seeing you on tour too.
Well, thanks. You too. Let me know when you test those out if you like them. How to fly for you.
I think I told Yuli, I told Silas before I came on here, who's our producer. I was like, I don't think I've filmed a YouTube video in like 8 months. I think my first YouTube video back is going to be me testing these discs out. So
excellent.
That's what I'm going to be doing right after I get off of here. I'm heading to the course, and I'm going to be doing a little disc review for you.
So looking forward to it, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks,
we wish you the best of everything, and hopefully see you get some health, some better health going too, because I know we would all love to see you compete out there.
Thanks a lot. Like
Appreciate
I said,
you, brother.
I can play one round without much pain, but it's when I play 4 or 5 days in a row where it starts to get.
Hey, welcome to the club. I'm only 36, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 56, almost 57 now, so I'm no spring chicken. I don't have too many years left in me, so if I'm going to do it, I got to do it now.
You got it. I trust that you're going to figure out a way to get back on the course, man. With athletes, that burning desire to compete never goes away, and so you'll find a way. I believe it.
There's some good drugs too now that just completely reduce all pain.
Not into that.
No.
It's a little dangerous maybe, but that's crazy. But hey, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks to the champ himself, Ken Climo, also Cale Leviska, for jumping on the podcast tonight. And we'll see you guys all next week.